Dawna Lee Heising, and we're here at the beautiful Directors Guild for the 2012 Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. And our special guest today is H.P. Mendoza of I Am a Ghost. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Francisco.
And I knew that.
I grew up in San Francisco, but I spent my high school years in Colma, California.
Where is that?
5 minutes south of San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and why is it called Land of the Dead, or is that your name for it?
Yeah, right. No, actually, it's basically Daly City, but it's where all the cemeteries are.
Oh, okay. I know where Daly City is. Oh, okay. Well, do you think it influenced you?
I wonder. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I'm also Filipino, so I grew up around death all the time, and conversation about death. It'd be like, knock, knock, who's there? I'm Filipino. Filipino who? You're dead. That's how,
Okay.
that's how it works.
Okay. Now, did you know you wanted to be an entertainer?
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to make movies and tell stories. That's what I wanted to do. Whether it's through music, flip books, animated movies, whatever. Just I always wanted to tell stories. So now that I'm actually telling stories, I feel really good because I suck at everything else at life. So it's like, why do I do this? It's the only thing I know how to do.
You must have a lot of confidence to say that.
I have a lot of confidence in what I do, but I know I'm not very confident in a lot of other things, like laundry.
Okay, well, that's not important anyway. Now, did you start the music first, or did you start the films?
I started the films first. I never thought of myself as a musician. I was one of those kids. Okay, so we grew up with a piano in the house, and my two older brothers had piano lessons forced on them. So they were like, we don't want to do this, and they said they kind of like pushed it off. And by the time I was born, I was like, I want to learn. And my parents were like, no, we know you. We learned our lesson. You're going to want to push it off. So I never got the lessons, but the piano was there. So I taught myself how to play piano by imitating. The first song I ever learned was the theme song to Legend of Zelda. And I just wanted to learn how to play these video game songs. And I taught myself how to play piano. And I ended up writing my own music, but I never considered myself a musician. So when I started making movies, it just made sense that I would write my own music as well. So I wrote all the music for I Am a Ghost, too.
Okay, so when did you start making movies?
Well, I went to school with Richard Wong, who's the director of Colma the Musical. Colma the Musical is a screenplay I wrote based on my own life. And
that was your first script?
First script that was produced and purchased, and you can rent it right now. It's called Colma the Musical, and directed by Richard Wong. And yeah, from there it's like, okay, I'm going to make another musical. And I made this musical about Filipino fag hags in San Francisco. And it was called Fruit Fly. And I directed that and wrote that. And now I realized that people see me as the musical guy. And I'm like, well, no, those were flukes. Like, I'm a movie guy, and I love horror. And people just kind of don't see the connection, which I think is really strange. There's a Venn diagram out there on Facebook right now that has people who love horror movies and people who love musicals. And in the middle it says serial killers. So I know my demographic, or maybe I learned something about myself. But it's true, there's a real Venn diagram, look it up. I love horror films. I love horror. And the musicals were just kind of, I love musicals too, but now I want to go off in a darker direction.
Well, that's great for us. So Colma wasn't horror in any aspect?
No, it was a musical about slacker kids, like teenagers foul-mouthed teenagers who got high and drunk in cemeteries.
But didn't it get a lot of great word of mouth and awards?
It got a lot of awards. It got a lot of play. The New York Times, I really want to thank the New York Times for actually getting it out there. Suddenly, it opened the doors for me. I mean, that was kind of like my new start. But I didn't want to have like this new start and just keep on doing the same thing over and over. People are still kind of shocked that I'm doing a horror movie, and it's like, well, no, I love horror, and people kind of look at me like, well, why? They look at it like it's some lesser art form. Or like it's a trifle. Yeah, well, get back to us when you get back to serious filmmaking. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel like this is my serious movie. I feel like this is where I really wanted to focus my skills as a filmmaker.
Well, the horror genre actually is the most profitable. So
profit aside, it really calls to me. It's if I could live my life doing stuff like this every year and not really make a profit, I wouldn't really care. I'd be a happy man, Mm-hmm. I don't care if people think it's a lesser art form. I see it as a great form, a great way to tell a story. I love being scared, and I love scaring people.
Okay, well, it's great that this got accepted into the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival because it's really hard to get into. So, now tell us, when did you start with the idea for this movie?
I wrote it about 4 years ago, actually, and that was right when I was working on the musical that I directed called Fruit Fly. And I really loved the idea of having this movie. It's kind of a formalist horror movie, you know, so it's about filmmaking also. So you're just watching the memories of this ghost, and you learn that this ghost can't stop haunting her own house, and the only person who can help her is this psychic, who you never see but you hear. You hear this living person kind of trying to help Emily, the ghost, out of her house. So it's a period piece. It's Victorian. And it's kind of a switch because normally it's always a living person saying, "Who's there? Who's the ghost in my room?" And you hear this voice saying, "I'm the ghost of some dead person." And in this case, it's this ghost who knows she can't stop haunting her own house, but she hears this voice. She's like, "Who's there? Who are you?" And she's like, "I'm a psychic, and I'm trying to get you out of the house. And I'm a really good psychic, but I don't know why I can't get you out this time." So the whole movie is like watching a patient-therapist relationship between a ghost and a psychic, and they try to unearth these secrets that might help her get out of the house, and to horrifying, gory effect.
Okay. And you wrote the music to this. Are there any songs?
Well, no, it's score. Like I'm scared the most by a lot of those slow burn horror films, like The Haunting from 1961. And there's a movie that's not necessarily a horror film, but I think it's horrific, called Picnic at Hanging Rock from '75. And like I wanted like kind of like a '70s aesthetic for the movie, you know? And so the music has a very ghost box, sort of like BBC Radiophonic Workshop sound to it. And Anna actually sings it. There's some choral arrangements, and also very kind of '70s electronic, you know. And I think that's the kind of stuff that calls to me. It digs into my brain. Those are the stuff that used to creep me out as a child. Even like the theme song to Nova, you know, it was like that has an effect on me. So yeah, I wrote all the music.
You're like an encyclopedia. You know everything. This must be a fantastic film. I can't wait to see it.
I hope you like it. I'm really proud of it. It's my baby, you know?
How long is it?
It's 79 minutes.
Okay. So, what do you have planned next?
You mean today or in general?
In general.
The next
Well, no, what do you have planned today? I mean, because I know that you're going to premiere your film.
Yeah, this is the Los Angeles premiere. I'm really excited. I have another film that's playing here that I didn't direct, but I wrote, called Yes, We're Open, and it's a sex comedy. And it's really interesting because it's like, oh, look, there's H.P. Mendoza, the guy who did the sex comedy and the horror film. Let's go watch the sex comedy.
Well, tell us about the sex comedy. I mean...
It was originally written about two gay guys who were super liberal, super modern, and they really pride themselves on being these super liberal, super modern gay guys until they meet another gay couple who are like another couple of gay guys who are super modern, super liberal, and they're like kind of trying to out-modern each other until it gets to the point where it's like, okay, how modern are you? Would you sleep with us? And it's about this decision to go into an open relationship. So that was the original thing. And then I was like, you know, you want to watch a movie about open relationships, you can watch a lot of gay movies. This is going to blur and blend. So it's now heterosexual. It's about a heterosexual couple that's super liberal and modern, who are trying to out-modern another couple and them opening the relationship.
Oh, okay. So then does it go into the gay territory after that?
There are gay characters, but no, it's pretty much a straight story now.
Okay. Now, you wrote that one, and who directed it? And why did you decide not to direct it yourself, since you're so accomplished in that area?
Oh, well, Richard Wong directed it. Richard Wong is a director of Colma the Musical. So,
okay, yeah. Tell us about Richard Wong, because I was doing some reading.
Oh, well, he's right over there. He's the guy speaking on the couch right now. Richard Wong, he directed Colma the Musical in Option 3, and he's a very close friend of mine. Like, he's one of the links to my past. You know what I mean? You know how those are some friends who are just those links to your past, who know your entire family, and they know everything about you.
Did he go to school with you?
I went to school with Richard Wong,
okay.
And I wrote this very personal script called Yes, We're Open. And I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of based on me going into an open relationship. You want to give it a read? And I was thinking to myself, well, if anyone's going to direct this, it's going to be someone close. Mm-hmm. He was looking for a script to produce and direct. And the reason I didn't direct is because I thought he would understand the material, and I was doing I'm a Ghost. So literally I was doing I'm a Ghost while he was doing Yes, We're Open. And a lot of times Richard and I would work together, like on crews. You know, he'd be like my DP, or I would have written for him. But in this case, we were two separate productions. Yes, We're Open. I was in for like 5 minutes, but I wasn't really part of that crew. I Am a Ghost was completely mine. I shot it. I was the cinematographer, the cameraman. I did the sound. I lit it. It was a very like it was like a total. It was my baby. You know, it's.
Sounds like you did everything on it, except maybe act her part.
That's actually me. No. Can't you tell? No, that's Anna Ishida, who is fantastic. She's a fantastic performer. I wanted her so bad, and I was. She's one of those hard to get actresses. Okay. You know, she's a big theater actress, and I kept trying to figure out when she was available, and she only had these. Like these weeks available in between two shows, and I was like, well, that's when we shoot the movie, and it happened to be in line with when Rich shot Yes, We're Open.
Okay. So which is your favorite?
Which is my favorite between the two?
Between your two movies.
It's hard to say because one's a sex comedy, you know.
Well, this is your baby, though.
This is my baby, so you know. I think it was, you know, because she's here. I'll say this is my favorite. But truth be told, I mean, it's kind of hard for this to not be my favorite because I've been living and breathing this. Like I was the one behind the camera while directing the actress in front of it, and then editing it. You know, like when all was said and done, and then doing all the visual effects with my partner, and like being so steeped in this. And I wrote this based on my own like insecurities of existence, you know. So it's a very personal thing. So I mean, both scripts are very personal, but because I'm so steeped in this, like it brought me back to the days 17 years ago when I was in film school, running around with the camera, you know, and like I feel like a kid with a camera again. Yeah. It was a great feeling.
What school did you go to? Because you're talking about editing, so obviously you're trained.
Well, Rich and I met at the College of San Mateo in California. Okay. And I can't speak for him, but I can speak for most people who back then in 93, 94 who wanted to actually go to this place. They went there because it was one of the last places in the Bay Area that taught on film. Everything was going digital, you know, and they were teaching on film, and we wanted that. Which is interesting because now I feel like I don't ever want to go back to film. Okay. But we went to school there, and we learned there.
Well, what's better about digital then? Why did you change your mind?
I'll be honest. When I first went digital, I was like, "Oh, this is so odd. What happened to the days when I used to be able to look at the frames? You know, like this is so different." And now I'm like, "Wow, this is just It's so many things are easier about it, and there are a lot of new hardships that were never there with film, like transcoding and having different deliverables like HD cam and different tapes that different festivals will use. It used to be if you made a film, you brought the film to the festival, you know. So while the workflow might be quote unquote easier, there's a whole lot of new hardships. But it's just what I do now, and it's part of me. You know, I don't think I have the patience to relearn film. You know, to have to pull out the splicer again, and it's just if I want it to be nostalgic and if I want it to be one of those kind of pedantic purists, sure, I'll pull it out and say, oh yeah, this is real film, but I just want to tell a story.
Okay, so this is up for an award here.
It's a nominee for Best Narrative Feature.
Okay, and when do you find out?
I think they announce like after the festival, I think. Yeah, the festival ends on the 20th, so we'll see.
Okay, well, good luck. I hope that you win since you're our guest today.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
You know, you're so young to have accomplished everything that you have.
I really appreciate being called young, thank you. Because at an Asian film festival, it's really easy to be called old.
You were telling me about that. Well, yeah, Asians really look young, but... Okay, so now tell us, what projects are you working on now? Do you have anything in mind?
Yeah, I'm working on my next film. It's called Bitter Melon, and it's, you know, those comedies where you have like families reuniting for one night for Christmas, and hilarity ensues. Well, the hilarity in this case is the whole family gets back together for Christmas, and they're all trying to kill the black sheep of the family. And so it's a Christmas comedy, but it's really bloody and gory. And
okay, so it's a horror film then?
Essentially, but it's a comedy too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that one sounds funny then. And who's the black sheep of the family?
It's just the brother. It's the older brother in the family, and he's sort of the deadbeat thug gangster who scares and Stockholms the entire family. And finally, after enough abuse and physical abuse, the youngest child says, he has no business in the world. He hurts everybody. Shouldn't we kill him? And the interesting thing is watching every family member say, okay, good, we'll do it. This Christmas, let's kill him. And it's a movie about this conspiracy to kill the evil brother.
Oh, okay, and that's Bitter Melon.
Bitter Melon.
So we'll probably see that at next year's festival.
Yeah, if you'll have me, yeah. Oh, you mean at the festival, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd love to interview you again. It seems like you do so many different things.
Right. Cheaper.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.